Poetic beats. Poetic beats.
This is First GenXers.
Poetic beats. Poetic beats.
All right. What is up? What is up? And welcome to tonight's edition of The Classroom. This week we are back at full force with the one and only Mr. Suave. How you doing, brother?
What up, man?
And the amazing Miss O'Malley, as always, with us. How you doing, mama?
I'm doing better than my husband's doing right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm upset enough about last night's USC Notre Dame game, but he had a double whammy. So
yeah.
I just keep trying to remind him the Dodgers swept the Brewers. You're at least still winning in one area of life, besides the fact that you're married to me. So that makes two areas of life.
What was funny about this weekend is I can't remember the last time Stanford and Cal won and USC didn't in the same weekend. Like, I was like, wow, okay, so this is what we're doing now, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only going to be for this week. Don't get me wrong. Like the rest of the season is a whole different story. But for this week, for this 1 week. All right, y'all. So we're going to jump to that pro football to start out the game. But before we jump into that, we're going to get to our sports quiz question. And with the NBA having their opening day this week, we'll start out with a question, some NBA questions. Which player was the first NBA history to record a triple-double in their debut game? Go ahead and think about it for a minute. We'll get to that after we're done talking football. Of course, this is NFL Week 7. We've had some interesting scores and results to games. We can start with, unfortunately, I'm more of the let's rip the Band-Aid off and just deal with it. And so we're going to start with the Chiefs beating the Raiders 31-0. First and foremost, I know I don't need to announce this, but I'm dropping Geno Smith from my league after this week. Bro, three points ain't gonna cut it. I could have got more out of Spencer Rattler or one of these other young bucks. So
Or anyone else.
Yes. I'm like, bro, I tried to stick with you. I was like, he gonna have some good games here and there. He gonna come through. Yeah, no. Luckily for me, Brock Purdy's supposed to be back next week. We'll see how that goes. And I may be in another couple of weeks, I may be announcing that I'm dropping Brock Purdy. But we'll see how that goes. But in this game, the Chiefs look like the Chiefs, and the Raiders look like the Raiders of today. And that black cloud that O'Malley speaks of every week is still hanging over Vegas. So, Suave, your thoughts first on the drubbing that the Chiefs handed the Raiders.
Honestly, to be expected. Chiefs have taken a couple lumps early this season, so Raiders have been mostly down this season. They've had a couple of ups, a couple of decent games, a couple of close ones, but this one solidly put them in their place. I mean, I guess the biggest thing for me is, You think for a second you can win some games with Geno Smith, and that's fine and dandy. But if you're really trying to rebuild and put a great team out there, then you really shouldn't have signed Geno Smith. You should have gave it to Aiden O'Connell, allowed him to either show he can be the guy and go 2-15 and draft Arch Manning, or put enough around Geno Smith to allow him to be successful like he was for Seattle. So they don't have the talent per se. They've still got some holes they've got to shore up. But this was a litmus test, and the Raiders fell flat.
I don't know, Valley, your thoughts?
Why is anybody shocked at this point? Like, I mean, it's fucking Geno Smith. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, okay, let's just put it this way. If Pete Carroll wasn't coaching the Raiders right now, he'd be coaching USC because Lincoln Riley would have gotten the Lane Kiffin tarmac after the fucking game last night against what could have been the last game against Notre Dame in this storied rivalry. So, I mean, he was already back to teaching at SC before he came on to just... Yeah, this is another experiment gone wrong. Geno Smith, shit, whatever you want to call them. And I mean, it's pathetic if you ask me, especially 31-0 against the Chiefs, who have been playing like shit this year. So, like, but I stand on... This is what the Raiders are going to. This is what you get for moving, and this is what you get for having a piece of shit owner. This is what you get for getting rid of Khalil Mack. This is what you get for bringing back John Gruden. This is what you get. Insert whatever you want to enter there, but this is what happens when an owner is working out his daddy issues on the team. The team and the fans pay for it, because this is not Al Davis's Raiders. They don't look anything like Al Davis's Raiders. And I know people can talk shit about Al Davis in the end of his career. That doesn't negate who he was and what he did for the NFL. The NFL wouldn't be the NFL but for Al Davis. So what is happening in Vegas, the fact I'm even saying Vegas is a fucking travesty. But what is happening to this team is a travesty. Like, but it's what they get. This is karma. This is the curse. This is the toilet bowl curse. This is the Vegas curse. This is whatever the fuck you want to call it, but it's the curse of the move.
And I will kind of double down on what you just said by saying this. There's something odd, like, about the way that they're playing this year, in the sense that they should be playing a lot better than what they are. And the reason why I say that is this. And this is why Geno Smith has been bad in previous years. Don't get me wrong. His time with the Jets, oh my God. But his time in Seattle showed that when you put the right people around him, he can play well and play successfully. I think that what was embarrassing about this was the zero. Like, if they'd have lost 45-22, I think, yeah, it's an ass whipping, but like, okay, at least the offense showed some life. I think Geno Smith finished with less than 100 yards passing for the game.
Chip Kelly is garbage.
Ashton Genty is garbage.
He's in a bad scheme.
He was in college, bro. He played for the Mountain West. He was at Boise State. So, whatever, R.I.P. Doug Martin. But whatever you want to say, yeah, a lot of people are going to put up numbers in the Mountain West. But he's garbage. They're all garbage.
I don't know if...
Yeah, I'm bitter. I don't care. But I said what I fucking said.
I don't
Just
know
because I'm bitter doesn't make it any less true.
The lady has a point. Well, I'll say I wouldn't say he's garbage. I'd agree. I'd lean more with Steve that he's just on the wrong team. If you put him behind a good offensive line, I think he's playing a lot better than what he is right now.
Yeah, but we've had running backs who were on this garbage ass team and still went out there and did some things. They were the only good spot on the fucking team. So, and Chip Kelly is garbage. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So,
all right, so we'll take our foot off the Raiders' neck for right now and see what performance they give us next week to talk about. Maybe it's a bye week, so they'll be the only their third win of the season, the bye week.
They'll still manage to lose something in their bye week.
Geno Smith will break his toe during the bye week. Anyway, all right. So we'll move on to the next game we're talking about, which was another blowout. And in London, the Rams made the Jags look like the Jags just needed to stay in London and shut down the whole franchise. Shahid Khan just called it a day because that team got embarrassed. I know y'all started out 4-2, but this game was just embarrassing in every step of the way. O'Malley, kick us off with your thoughts about this Rams.
Well, I mean,
Rams,
at least
Jags
as far as they're concerned, right? They can at least blame it on jet lag, right?
Yeah.
The Raiders ain't got no excuse. Wasn't this the London game?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I mean, so it's. I mean, I'm not really super surprised. Yeah, they've done better than they were doing last year, but the Rams are also looking decent. But this game didn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah, it didn't. But hey, actually, depending on what happens with this 49ers game, it could mean a lot because it could put the Rams right back on top of the division.
That is true. That is true.
So, what say you, Swab, about this beatdown in London?
Rams are a playoff team. Jaguars are still figuring out. I figure their head coach will get fired at the end of the season. I'm not sure what the Jaguars can do. It looks like they have a lot of pieces, so they should be a good team. And right now they're having a 500 season when they feel like they should be a bit better. To get blown out like this in London, it's not a good look. At some point, they're going to pull the rug out from Trevor Lawrence and try and go somewhere else. I don't necessarily think he's the problem. I really think it's a ownership front office issue. At some point, hopefully they'll figure it out because Jacksonville does deserve to have a decent team. I do remember the Mark Brunell days and when the fans really got behind that team. So I do feel for them not having a team to. I mean, they're almost on the Saints, the Aints, wearing paper bags over their heads, So
well, they are 4-3 this year so far.
Yeah,
but this game they just looked kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, they're still in it, but this just shows how far the Rams are from the Jaguars. The Rams are for sure a playoff team, just in the Super Bowl a few years ago, winning it. So, I mean, this is where they're at.
Didn't they win what? Didn't the Jags last year win, 3 games?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing better.
Yeah, because they were one of the top picks.
I mean, they've already this point in the season surpassed what they did last season. Now, granted, that could only be by one game at this point, depending on how the rest of their season goes. But maybe this is another one, just like the Eagles game, is they got smacked last week and came back and did something. So maybe next week, if they don't have a bye, I don't know what their schedule looks like because who really cares about the Jaguars, except for the people there. Sorry, I do have friends in Duval. I'm sorry. Okay, do not hate me.
Duval.
Right, but they have an opportunity next week to come back and look better. Those London games can be rough too. I mean, they're not fun for anyone, I think, except for the crowd. So, they're not even fun for the fans back here. They got to wake up at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning to even watch them play if you're on the West Coast. So, they're not doing horrible. They're still doing better than a lot of other teams right now. So, it's they're a growing team, right? After being where they were at last year, I don't think anybody expected like going to the Super Bowl or like even like I think they'd be
Well,
happy with a wild card spot this season after what last season looked like. And who knows? There's still a lot of season left at this point.
there's still 10 games left, so there's still a lot that can be done. You go 5-5, you're now 9-8. That could very well get you in the playoffs in the AFC this year. Now she touched on the Eagles, who managed to win their game against the Vikings 28-22. This win wasn't surprising from the sense of the Eagles not being the team that you expected to win with all the talent that they have. It was surprising because all week, all I heard was about how the Vikings game plan and how they run their defense was going to stifle Jalen Hurts, and the stats about how bad Jalen Hurts is against the blitz and so on and so forth. And the Eagles were dominating this game. The Vikings came back late, but the Eagles started out, they were at 14-6 at halftime, 21-6 or 21-13 early in the third quarter, final 28-22. The Eagles look good. Swab, your thoughts on this game?
I mean, Eagles look really good against the Vikings. Jalen Hurts went out there and had him a really good passing game, which, he is pretty much up and down. I will say that Minnesota may have broken the code on the tush push. It looks like they, had a guy on his hands and knees at the point of contact over the ball. So I'm real curious. They didn't run the play, so I'm real curious to see how that affects it going forward. And that person's probably going to get hurt in that position for the tush push. But I'm interested to see if other teams try to emulate that maneuver and have someone essentially laying on the line of scrimmage to stop the center on the tush push. So they might have cracked the code. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Try to give them basically the leverage to come in from underneath the center and push back, as opposed to coming from a standing position.
Yep.
Let you use more of your back than anything else. O'Malley, your thoughts on the Eagles win?
Well, all that shit that Minnesota talked, right? And Jalen's game was about Jalen. It wasn't even Saquon. Like, they didn't even hardly utilize him at all. Like, so what was that you were saying that you were gonna do again? Because the only
Fantasy
quarterback
week,
that really
Saquon
got
Barkley.
stopped in this game was yours.
Yep. Fucking 4 points. Damn it, Saquon.
Was it 2 interceptions?
Yeah. Very true. And hey, man, I'll say it like
Carson
this.
Wentz out there looking like Carson Wentz.
I was just gonna say this. Carson Wentz has got to be one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks who will throw for 400 one game and then throw 5 interceptions the next game. He is the truest definition of a gunslinger since Brett Favre. He just flings it out there, and sometimes he's just hoping his guy can go up and get it.
He's the reason why there's a term called the Hail Mary, because every time he throws the ball, it's a fucking Hail Mary.
My boy just out there flinging it. He finished with 313. Jalen Hurts finished with 326. The difference between them, Jalen Hurts finished with 3 touchdowns. Carson Wentz finished with two interceptions. The Eagles look like they're back, 5-2, sitting on top of the division still. We're going to get to this next game. And if you are O'Malley's husband, please turn away. We're sorry we have to talk about this.
Well, thankfully, they don't have internet in prison, so.
All right.
Sorry.
The Commanders, unfortunately, fall to the hold on. Let me see if I can form my mouth to say this.
Oh, God.
They fall to the.
This is the hardest part. That's the hardest part. It's who they lost to. It's who they lost to, which also means my sister-in-law is happy. That's a family divided. Like, there are all sorts of weirdos over there. But
Dak Prescott out there trying to look like Jalen Hurts, and just CeeDee Lamb out there looking good though. I'll give him credit. He came back off
fucking Lattimore
injury and he's looking good.
Smoked.
Uh, and yeah, the final score 44-22
And
Dallas.
shocking, Debo Samuels is hurt again.
Here's the thing with it that's confusing with me. Dallas is one of those teams right now, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this one. They literally have one of the best looking offenses in all of football right now. But their defense is atrocious. Like their defense looked good today because Dallas jumped out to a big lead early, and Jalen Daniels got hurt in the early third quarter.
Jaden.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, hamstring.
Yeah.
He's supposed to have an MRI on it, but yeah, it didn't look good. He automatically went to grab the back of his leg, and
Let's hope it's not full hamstring snap or ACL.
well, but this also leads this question, because my husband seems to believe that Marcus Mariota has gotten a raw deal and that he is a quarterback, and why the fuck did the Raiders give him up and Geno Smith and all of this? Because he swears that like deep down there's still like a Raiders fan inside of me, and I keep telling him that's not true. At least not
Keep
as
looking
long
for
as
something
Mark
that's not
Davis
fair.
is alive and owns the team. But he's not wrong, other than the interception that he threw. He, generally speaking, when he has come in and had to back up for Jaden Daniels, he's done well.
Mhm.
But oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, they're
Why the
not
time?
your little brother.
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
not. But
That's
I
why.
mean, I get the sentiment.
What you thinking about this Cowboys victory here?
Cowboys are going to have games like this. You know, the offense is intact. They do have Dak Prescott in the regular season. He's a pretty accomplished quarterback.
Yeah.
CD Lamb's a great wide receiver, so they're gonna have these games where they, look really good on offense, and you just need the defense to do something, make a play here or there. They don't have to be a shutout defense. It's gonna really hurt them when it comes to playoff time because it comes down to defense in the playoffs. But you hope to
And
be
their
able to coach
defense
them
is
up.
old. Their
Yeah.
defense is old.
Far as Marcus Mariota, he's playing for his career. He's now a perennial backup, but he did have stretches where he looked good in the backup role. Maybe he can segue this opportunity into a starting spot somewhere else. I think the Titans gave up on him too soon. I think that he looked good in Atlanta when he had his shot there. Although they didn't win a lot, they didn't have the same team and pieces around him, but he did win a couple of games. Um, there's a reason he was drafted as high as he was. It's the same thing about Sam Darnold. He was a number 3 overall pick. They don't always pan out, but there is a reason why they were projected and drafted that high. So I
But
think
they also
Mariota,
tend to go to really shitty teams
That's
when
all
they're
it's.
drafted that high.
yeah,
So
yeah. And then when you start going in, and when the original team, the drafted team, gives up on you, you're going to find a job anywhere. So he's kind of been a vagabond. Now he's in Washington. He's got a shot if he can just hold the ship. Essentially, do what Mac Jones did for the Niners. Because honestly, the Niners season should already be over. But his great play and Shanahan's coaching allowed them to come out of the Brock Purdy injury with a winning record. So, well, I'm sure Washington's hoping for the same thing, depending on how long Jaden Daniels will be out. Hopefully, it's only a few weeks. I would assume at least one, but hopefully not, a huge portion of the season, so that way he can get back in rhythm as they make a playoff push if Mariota can keep the ship, you know, over 500.
Win a game or two.
Yeah.
and their Monday night game was just unfortunate. Like
Hmm.
that really was just unfortunate, that last play, that fumble, like it was unfortunate. They really should have won that game. They didn't. It doesn't count in their numbers, but and he held on to that. He took that personal. They talked about how like he lost sleep this week because of that game. So I hope that it's nothing serious. The Commanders have a history of fucking up their quarterbacks' careers. So hopefully, and he's just coming off of another injury. So one has to wonder, did he come back too soon off of that? But um, hopefully it's nothing serious and he gets back out there. In Mariota, we trust until then. And this was even more unfortunate just because it was the Cowboys that they lost to. Because I was trying to explain to my mother that outside of postseason, if there's any two games in the season that they have to win, it's the two against the Cowboys.
Just like
So
the 49ers, anytime we play the Cowboys, you can lose every other game. You better beat the Cowboys.
Why wasn't this game on Thanksgiving? I missed the Cowboys versus the Indians on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I know.
I used to be
years,
like, why do we got when they were garbage? I was like, oh, why is it always these two teams? And now I'm just like, I missed that game.
Right. No, I don't disagree. My husband and I have had that conversation on more than one occasion because that was one of the few times he'd actually get to see the game, no matter where he was at. So, I do miss that.
NFL, fire the scheduling people and hire us. We know what the people want to see. We'll get you all set up.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand when they're hot garbage, but both of the teams are actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
Very much so. I'll say, all right, so last one, we'll talk about the game that's kind of going on right now. 49ers and Falcons. Niners were up 7-3 with about a minute and a half left in the first quarter. These injuries, Suave, talk to me about what do you think that they're going to come out and be, looks like they might have a turnover there, come out and be, can they survive? Like they get Purdy back, they get Kittle back. At some point in the season, they'll get Ayuk back. I believe they said also Ricky Pearsall will be back next week along with Brock Purdy. So the Niners are getting healthier as the season goes on. Now, the downside to that is on the defensive side of the ball, they will not get any healthier than they already are right now with Fred Warner and Nick Bosa out for the season. So
I'll be honest, without those two players, the Niners will most likely have a winning record. They'll be in the hunt for a playoff spot because Shanahan is a good coach overall, even though he seems to crumble in high-pressure moments. I will say they most likely getting healthy. Mac Jones did an incredible job keeping them upright when Purdy went down. But it's not going to matter because without Bosa and Warner, once you get to the playoffs, that's where they're going to miss them the most. I don't see this offense as being high-powered enough to be able to outscore 3 or 4 straight games, whoever they're facing. That's not necessarily the style of offense Shanahan runs. So I don't see them being able to do that. And without the defense to be able to get up those extra stops that you can almost guarantee, Fred Warner's good to get a couple of drives stalled out, 2 or 3. The same for Bosa, and you only get so many a game, so they're doing great at the moment. They're still a playoff contender. I don't expect them to really be in a spot to fight for a championship. But like I've said, you get to the playoffs, you got a puncher's chance, and who knows? Maybe Brock Purdy puts some salt on his name and wills them to a Super Bowl and does the unthinkable, which would be incredibly impressive and would show that he's worth every cent they gave him.
All right, O'Malley, and your thoughts?
I mean, this is what happens when you let Suave go before me, because he takes all the thoughts out of my brain.
This is dating back to West Coast bias for those who
but I mean, I do agree with Suave. So it's again, with what I said earlier, there is still a lot of football to play. We are still not even halfway through the season yet. I do feel for you as much as I can feel for the Niners with your defense, because you're right, it's not getting any better than what it is now. And I mean, in some ways, I feel like the Commanders are in the same boat, just for different reasons, just because of the age of their defense right now, and not necessarily making the right moves in the offseason where that was concerned. So, but your offense for sure has an opportunity to start looking better over the next several weeks. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do end up in a wild card spot or playoff contention at all. I would not be surprised. Now, getting through the playoffs, I think, is a different story without, your key defensive players but fuck, this is football. Any given Sunday, we know shit happens. So who knows? I mean, it's not who I'd be rooting for, but
Fair enough. Now, just to put it out there, the Niners do have, if they can get healthy and continue to do what they've been doing to the division, they do have a chance to win the division, being that they have beaten every division opponent they've played so far this season, in the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Cardinals. So they're 3-0 against the division. That bids well for them moving forward. But I agree with you guys. Once the playoff gets here, it's a completely different beast. You play some completely different caliber of offenses with a very young defense. If they this is where the statement, if they can have moments, they can have key moments in those playoff games where these young cats step up and make plays. Who knows how high the ceiling is for this team? Who knows? But, all right. So one last thing is get you guys' quick thoughts before we answer the sports quiz question on the Bengals. Trading for Joe Flacco 1 week, 2 weeks later, beating the division-leading Steelers on Thursday Night Football in a barn burger. O'Malley, kick us off with your thoughts on
what the fuck, bro? Like, you never I don't care what the need is, whatever. Like, this is one of your biggest fucking rivals, and you trade I mean, you should have traded Joe Flacco back into retirement, but that just didn't make any sense to me, because that would be like the freaking Niners trading somebody to Seattle or some shit, or the Rams, depending on what part of the decade you're in. It just, because of that, it didn't make a lot of sense to me. It also, God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, and I know this isn't about the Bengals, but with as much as I don't really particularly care for the Shador shenanigans, I'm shocked that the Browns have not at least tried, especially with after as abysmal as Dylan Gabriel has looked. Like, what the fuck is going on? Whose wife did he fuck? Because why haven't you put him in yet? It makes no fucking sense. Why did you bother to draft him then? I don't understand that. Like, there has got to be something else, not football related, going on, because it doesn't make any sense at this point to have not at least experimented with him. But back to Joe Flacco.
I'm gonna start calling him Timeless Joe Flacco,
bro. Like
timeless. Just
I don't get it. Like, just go home, retire. I mean, he's not doing terrible, but like it somewhat makes sense to some people. It doesn't really make sense to me, and it definitely doesn't make sense for that trade to happen between those two particular teams. But that'd be like the A's trading somebody to the Giants or vice versa. Like, I mean, I know it's a little bit different, but still, like, it doesn't make sense. And I mean, I know Joe Burrow is out, but damn, Joe Flacco. Joe, they don't have to change a name. They can just continue to call him Joe.
And And Swab, your thoughts on that Thursday night?
Bengals are fighting to keep their season alive until Burrow comes back. I think it was a smart move by them. Honestly, I think it was a smart move by the Browns. I think Joe Flacco might have won them a game or two here or there that they definitely didn't want to lose draft position on. And it was time to give the youngsters a chance. I hate to say that I'm thrilled to watch Dylan crash and burn, but I will say that I understand why the Browns will not play Shador Sanders, and it's quite simple. If you put him out there, he's going to look like Dylan. He might show you some flashes, but you're going to lose games and you might get him hurt. I think he's a draft trade chip this next offseason. And if you put him out there and he looks good, the fans will want him to stay and you won't be able to trade him. If you go out there and look bad, then you might not be able to get that third or fourth rounder you're hoping to get for him, because let's not mince words. Shadur Sanders was a first round rated prospect. They lucked out into getting in the fifth round because, quite simply, the league wanted to humble him. For whatever reason, nobody's allowed to be exuberant in what they do for a living. You see the flowers being given over there to the New York Giants with Dart and Scatterbro, so it's real interesting that those guys can be a bit more flamboyant, and they've put it out on the field and they're doing it, but a guy can't come in that way apparently. So, I understand kind of what the Browns are doing. I think I see the game plan. I think drafting Dylan was a mistake. It should have just been Shador right there. I understand the need to trade somebody that's desperate for a quarterback when you get an opportunity, which is why they made the deal with the Bengals, and it's surprising. But the Browns know they're not winning. They've got Myles Garrett signed long term. That was their big thing. It's not like he's on a 1 year, so they had to keep Flacco and keep pushing to try and win. So honestly, they're gonna suck this season, and there's two teams. It's either going to be the Saints or the Browns that are going to draft Arch Manning if he comes out this year, because he's got one more year after this. I believe he's only a junior.
We talked about that last week. I said he should stay in one more season.
It's going to be curious to see what he does, and I'm sure because of who his dad is and what his track record is, I'm almost assured that whoever's in the top three, that's going to dictate whether he says, nah, I'm just going to go ahead and stay, take my chances next year. Because let's be honest, Arch Manning necessarily hasn't looked great this year for Texas. But at the same time, that's not going to stop him from being the number one overall pick, because his last name is Manning. We've had two great ones in the league already. So until one of them fails, they're going to keep drafting Manning.
Well, and his daddy likely would have been another one had he not gotten hurt. So, yeah, and I mean, there's a whole other level to this at the Browns too. If you're the Browns coach, you've also got to be like, I put Shador in there and he does well. My job is also on the line here, because his daddy gonna come in and coach him, and then
and remember Tim Tebow. The fans clamored for Tim Tebow. He went out there, and he needed a lot of work. There's no doubt about it. But do not give Tebow his flowers. They won games. They won a playoff game against another hated team,
Pittsburgh team,
and he won that game late on his arm. It's not like they running back ran for 300 yards that game and had the game of his life. Tebow won that playoff game for that team, and the fans wanted more Tebow. Now, luckily, they got Peyton Manning to come in. And then the fans were like, "Oh, okay, it's okay, no problem, Manning, no Tebow." So they were able to
Francisco.
So they were able to kind of smooth that over, fairly quickly. But that's not going to happen this time.
Yeah, people forget that bidding war came down to San Francisco and Denver before he chose Denver. But yeah. What could have been, what should have been, what wasn't.
That could have been San Francisco winning the Levi's Stadium inaugural Super Bowl, not Denver.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate those teams equally, so I mean, I still would have been cheering for Cam. Oh God, did I just say I'd be cheering for Cam Newton? Wow.
All right, y'all. So let's finish this segment off right. The Manning and the Brady. If Brady's sons ever, I'm surprised Montana's
Brady's son, his oldest son plays basketball, so we are not going to be hearing about the oldest one. And
he's gonna win 8 out of 10 championships in the NBA.
Shit'll probably do better than Bronny.
Oh man! All right,
That's
so
okay,
all right. For those of you who weren't here at the top of the hour, I always give a recap of what the sports question quiz was. Which player was the first in NBA history to record a triple-double in their debut game? Either you care to give it a shot.
Oscar Robinson?
You know, sometimes you take a shot in the dark and you hit a motherfucking bullseye. Oscar Robinson.
I was going to say, I know it's a player who was playing before I was even a glimmer in anyone's fucking eye. So
I almost said Wilt Chamberlain. I'm not going to lie, but I thought about Big O. I know he was the triple-double machine. I figured, hell, take a shot.
In his first NBA game in a 60-61 season. There you go, Swab.
The real triple-double champion, not Russell Westbrook, who actually just kept going for the stats. Big O let it come to him organically.
People fail to realize that there is a difference between that. There's a difference between when you're going out and intentionally trying to gather these stats. Like that one game when a brick came, he was like one rebound away and a brick came off.
Steven Adams.
And his whole team just kind of moved out the way, and Steven Adams too was right there to grab it. Yeah. And he just moved out the way to let Russ get the credit for the rebound for the triple double. Like, if it comes within the flow of the game, this is why I talk about when people talk about Michael Jordan shot too many shots in the game. It came within the flow of the offense. He wasn't forcing it. He wasn't saying get me the ball at all times. It was coming within the flow of the triangle offense, and hey, he did what he needed to do with it. All right, so that'll do it for us for the first half of the show. We're going to come back and talk some NBA and these opening week games, including Lakers, Warriors, which will be on Tuesday night. And we'll be talking more sports. So thank y'all for joining us here for the classroom. Please stick around. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't checked out the comments on Ellie, it looks like you have a fan in Wood.
I saw that. Thank you.
All right. Oh, all right. So we'll get back to y'all after the break. Peace.
This is now versus then. This is now versus then. Get on your mark, let's go. This is now versus then. Burning up your radio, still turning up the heat with Poetic on the flow. Got you moving to the beats with the Saint as your host. Shout out the collective, hold it down, we gon' clown, that's the lesson. We're Generation X meets Generation Next, with them bangers from the east to the south to the west. Yeah, this how we do it in Sacktown. Slide to the studio, yup, it goes down. Everybody fall through. These beats gon' pound, waking the game up, told you it goes down. And this is only the intro. Turn the mics on, shout out to my kinfolk. Where you at, y'all? Let's get this started. Turn down for what? We about to start the party. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. This is now versus then. This is now versus then. This is now versus then. This is now versus then.
the beholder. But the definition of beauty is distorted. Yeah, come on. Searching for yourself, so insecure about the way you look, so you go to Miami. You can't find the love within yourself.
And we are back. What's up, y'all? So, Swab, got your message. You got a dip. That's fine. All right. We're going to be talking here about some NBA, but first, let's open up with the sports quiz question real quick. Who is the only player in NBA history to win MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year? Again, somebody that played long before we were ever a glimmer. He played into our lives, but long before we were there. All right, so let's see. Let's start it out by talking BPI odds and predictions for 23 NBA teams. They have the Warriors. We just went over last week. Me and O'Malley. They have the Warriors winning something like 56 games. Swab, how you feeling about these ESPN indexes and predictions for the season for the Warriors?
I see a lot of things about the Warriors finishing between 6 and 8. A couple people figuring they're going to finish around 8 or 9. I think they're going to be a top 6 team in the West. I'm not sure exactly where. We got to see how the rotation, unfolds with Kerr, but I have high hopes for this team as long as they're able to stay healthy. I really think they'll be a 4 or 5 seed. Maybe they peak and they're a 2-3. I don't see them being a 1 because they're not going to push hard. They're going to watch those minutes and keep this team fresh. They got 82 games as a long season. So really, as long as they can get in and get a first round home court advantage, I think that's what they'll be gunning for. So anywhere between the 2, 3, 4 range, depending on what happens with the other teams around the league.
For sure. O'Malley, your thoughts?
2, 3, 4 range, and as long as they're above the Lakers, that's all I give a shit about.
Well, we get to get one. We get to get one game up on the Lakers if they can win on Tuesday night.
And the Kings. I mean, just got to add them in there now that they've got Russell Westbrook.
Let's get to that. So this week, the point guard Russell Westbrook, who has been sitting out there in free agency, has decided to join the Kings with a team of, like, I call this what I call an old. It's not a super team, but an old net. Like on paper, like 10 years ago, this team would have been a super team. But Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, Domantas Sabonis, like 10 years, outside of Sabonis, but 10 years ago, this team with just Westbrook, DeRozan, and LaVine would have been considered a super team. But O'Malley, your thoughts on Russell Westbrook joining the Kings for this season, and if it means anything different for the Sacramento crowd?
Doubtful. I mean, like I enjoyed Russell Westbrook when he was at the Clippers, just because I thought he got a raw deal when he was at the Lakers, and I really loved that he turned around and went the fuck off. His first game as a Clipper is a big fuck you to LeBron and the Lakers, and trying to throw him under the bus like them being garbage had anything to do with him. But outside of that, we all know that, like, I feel like he's a Ninja Turtle and a Gremlin had a baby. And, I think this will be different than years past when he was in Oklahoma City and shit like that, when we were playing and he was on a team that was in legitimate contention against us. But, I think it's good for the Sacramento crowd because it gives them another legitimate name in a lot of ways. But that's back to 10 years ago that would have meant something. But now you've got a few players that while they are big names and have great careers in their own right, are all on their way down.
Right.
Right.
They got more days behind them than they do in front of them as far as NBA career goes.
Yeah. So I mean, and then I don't know, like just. I still think Sacramento was really weird after the De'Aaron Fox shit and all of that. It just really doesn't make sense. But then again, there's a lot of people that didn't feel the Boogie Cousins shit made sense when it happened and all of that. So they be steady doing shit that don't make sense. So I've got friends who are Kings fans. They're also UCLA fans. So that says, I think, everything you need to know about them. And for my friends, I would love to see your team do something.
Do something.
The fans,
exactly.
the real fans, not the ones who don't show up when their team is losing. And there's quite a bit of them, because if you look at that arena when they're not winning, there are lots of empty seats.
Yeah.
But the fans who've been their fans from the jump, I'd like to see them have a team that is doing something.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting because he's still in the West. He hasn't gone anywhere other than that. I enjoy him. He is fun to watch. I used to love to see him on the sideline at the Clippers games, just dancing and having a ball, watch all the TikToks and fucking reels about him just fucking getting down. But, this is just like Steph and all of them. I'd be delusional if I didn't say, like, we know that our team, the main key players right now are in their last couple of. This is our last hurrah over the next. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like he's in the same boat. So, it's an interesting choice. That was one I did not have on my 2025 bingo card at all. Like, not even close. So I was actually pretty shocked when I heard the news. So, but whatever works. I think they're trying to get fans back.
Well, that and the signing of Keegan Murray helped breathe a little bit of life into the Sacramento fans. Swab, what are your thoughts on it?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure how on paper this team that they've assembled works. You've got Zach LaVine, who needs the ball, more of a slashing guard. You've got DeMar DeRozan, who's more of a baseline shooter, really just kind of inside the arc shooter. You've got Sabonis, who honestly should be the number one option on that team down in the post. And then you add Westbrook to that. And, it's going to come down to a couple of things. The Kings could have a good season if all four of them buy into whatever concept the coach comes up with, which will most likely be Westbrook needs to distribute the ball, not shoot the ball, getting it to Zach LaVine on drives to the basket, playing pick and pop, pick and go. The same with DeRozan, really allowing Sabonis to be the guy. But unfortunately, LaVine just came from being the guy in Chicago. DeRozan is no longer the player he was in Toronto. Neither is Russell Westbrook. He's not the player he once was. I'm not sure how this all plays out. It could be lightning in a bottle. I'll give them the puncher's chance, but I don't see them winning 40 games.
I'm gonna add one thing to that on top of all of that, because you said something about the coach. I'm also not sold on Doug Christie as a head coach either. Sorry, I'm just not. I mean, one would like to see him do well as a former player and all of that, but I'm not sold on him as a head coach at this point.
This is where he gets a chance to prove it, because if he can get this crew to buy into to what he's trying to do, it'll go a long way.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we'll move from there on to just a quick congratulations for former Warriors GM Bob Myers, who leaves ESPN to join the Harris Blitzer Group as the president of sports. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to that young man because, well, first of all,
Come back, Bob. Just come back.
If he's still in the
Come
game,
back.
why isn't he with the Warriors? I don't understand.
Just come back, Bob.
Well, I believe the Harris Blitzer thing is like it's president of sports, but it's not for a team. It's like an organization, and he's going to be like, yeah, it's an out of basketball role, but still in sports.
Got it.
So, but yeah, I would love to see him come back to the Warriors.
Just come back.
Yeah, he was immaculate with the contract work.
We just need 3 more championships for Steph. Just 3 more.
No, just need one.
We just need one.
Just need one. Okay?
As long as it's
just
one more than
need
LeBron.
one. That
For
point.
sure.
And that is my husband who said that. And my husband is a Lakers fan, folks. But he hates LeBron almost more than I do. So he is not happy with what is going on in Los Angeles. And so he wants us to win another because he wants Steph to have one more than LeBron. And yes, as a Warriors fan, I want that for Steph too.
So just real quick before we let Swab go here, sir, give us your thoughts on the opening night games. Oklahoma City taking on the Rockets and Lakers Golden State. What are your thoughts on those games and predictions?
I think OKC comes out a little high off the hog. Houston has a lot to prove. I think Oklahoma City is going to win that game, but I can't. It's not a shoo-in. Kevin Durant is a hell of a monkey wrench to throw into that situation over there. But I'm real curious. I think they're going to need a couple of games to kind of feel that out. Whereas Oklahoma City is going to come in high off of winning a title. Maybe they feel like the Warriors did that year that, they did 73-10, that they got something to prove, or 73-9. So, I mean, but they're so young. Maybe they have the chip on their shoulder because a lot of teams, Indiana can say we might have beat you had Hallie not gotten hurt. So there's a lot of they're gonna come in, I think, with that chip on their shoulder. So I expect Oklahoma City to win that game, and I'll be mad if Golden State doesn't beat the Lakers.
There you go. All right, and O'Malley, your thoughts?
Not just beat them, beat the brakes off them motherfuckers.
Beat the brakes off them, man.
In LA. So, and we all know what the freaking Bronisexuals will say. It's because LeBron wasn't playing.
Oh my God!
Okay, well, Lakers fans, what about your multi-hundred bajillion dollar, new, very svelte-looking Luka?
Yeah.
Fucking
here's the thing, guys.
JJ Redick in your conditioning rules. Like, a professional athlete actually has to be given, like, really?
The money's not enough, obviously.
Apparently not.
But the money is enough for LeBron to claim to grab his sciatica and sit his ass on the bench. So I ain't never had sciatica, so I don't know if it hurts or not. But
it's
bro,
brutal.
I had a severed sciatic nerve, and I still have to go through every day in fucking life, and I am not paid millions of dollars to do so. Suck it the fuck up, Mr. Cramp, during the finals.
Especially if this is going to be his last season. It's like, bro, this is your last shot. Might as well play 12 minutes.
Because honestly, his sciatica should be bothering him more sitting on the fucking bench than standing up doing something.
Yep.
To me, it's just another excuse. It's just another excuse. He's trying to save his energy because he knows he's 473 in basketball years.
I think he's trying to save himself on the season so that because they can't really sit out games anymore and they can get penalized, this is his way to start the season a bit fresher. Go ahead, we'll muddle, let Luka dominate. Hopefully they stay around 500. Then I'll come back.
100%. Yeah. All right. So
unless they're doing really shitty, and then it's my neck, my back, and my back.
What are you talking about? I was injured. My sciatica. Come on.
See, this is where as soon as the shot is missed, LeBron breaks down to the. Are showing, sir.
All right. So the last topic of the night is the 2025 MLB playoffs, which seems to have made Miss O'Malley's husband very happy as the Dodgers swept the Brewers
Yep.
to make it back
Yep.
to the World Series and
Yep.
defend their
Yep.
title.
Lots of people talking shit at the end of the season, going, the Dodgers ain't going to do shit. They're falling apart. They are a different team when it comes to the playoffs, folks.
Yeah.
And I saw
They're built for the playoffs.
somebody talking shit about a Giants fan for giving Shohei Ohtani the massive props that he deserves for what he accomplished the other night. In the history that was made on multiple levels, he is the first pitcher in history in any Major League Baseball game to hit a leadoff home run. Not to mention 10 strikeouts, 3 home runs. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. I mean, honestly, we know I was an A's fan. I fucking hated the Dodgers. I am still low-key bitter over the 88 World Series. We're not allowed to talk about that in our household, any of that. But if you are a true fan of baseball, I don't care who you're a fan of that team. You're delusional if you cannot give props to what that man, what that freak of nature, what that giant Japanese man did out there and what he's done for baseball in general. I mean, I said this last year. I've said this several times. He's made baseball fun to watch again for a lot of people, me included. So
even back when he was with the Angels, I hated him. I hated him big time when he was with the Angels.
Absolutely, and it's a huge bonus for me, especially after the week in sports that his teams and my team being one of them had this week. You know, I have to remind him that his team swept the Brewers. They swept them.
Number one seed Brewers.
Yes, because the American League game right now is going the full 7. So so you know, go Dodgers. It was fun to watch. It was aggravating on some days, but like they've kind of figured out that some of their starting pitchers are now becoming their middle to closing pitchers because that's where they were struggling. So, you know, it's been fun to watch, and you know, there hasn't been a back-to-back World Series champion in long time. So, go Dodgers.
Swab, your thoughts?
I think Shohei Ohtani is the second best player in all of baseball. I think that the number one player in all of baseball would be the interpreter that took the bum rap on the gambling that obviously Ohtani was doing. I think that guy needs to get his flowers and whatever Ohtani paid him.
He got the money already.
I mean, I appreciate Ohtani coughing up whatever he paid that guy to take that rap for him gambling. So, I think Ohtani's a monster. I'm glad he was able to beat that rap because obviously he wouldn't be playing baseball right now if he were in jail.
Get off my chair.
You know, I got a soft spot for the Dodgers. I hated 88, you know, but now that the A's are gone, I can let go of all that Dodger hate that I had. It's a lot easier. Plus, I appreciate how they built that team a bit differently than how the Yankees used to just scoop up talent. You know, they're not just scooping up prime talent. They're, you know, making trades for guys and getting guys in free agency that are definitely leaving their team and not really angling to be, you know, per se a Dodger, letting the bidding process, and they're just outbidding everybody. You know, it's a bit different than those Yankee days, and I appreciate it more. I wish my former team had done something like that, or been able to do that, but, you know, that just wasn't the case.
They had the ability, they just chose not to. I mean, one of the richest owners in all of baseball.
Yep. So, I mean, I appreciate the Dodgers. I appreciate what they're doing. I got a feeling they're going to repeat. I don't see either team on the other side that's having issues right now being able to stop the juggernaut that's the Dodgers. But I will give flowers to the Mariners. A lot of people said we should shrink the season down from 162, and that's too much. But let's be honest. Seattle is a game away from going to the World Series, and had the season been shortened, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. because they came from the bottom up. They were the third team. Technically, there was a minute where they were the fourth team, even under Sacramento, but they eventually came up and got up over, those teams and made it to the playoffs. And that was the one thing that Billy Bean always said. You get to the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. Look at Seattle. I'm actually happy for their fans. They kind of deserve it. They've been down and out for a long time. And even though that ownership group went to do things like paid Robinson Cano to be there, paid him a gang load of money back in the day, and then they suffered through Griffey leaving, Randy Johnson getting traded, Ichiro giving everything he had, and they just could never get over that hump. So I'm rooting for them, but I don't see them having a chance in hell of beating the Dodgers.
There you go. All right,
if they make it through the Blue Jays, and right now it looks like there's going to be a Game 7, if the Blue Jays hold up right now. But that will be interesting because that is Teo's old team.
Yeah.
So and my husband says all the time, pay that man. Pay that man, because he has come through more than once in the clutch, especially in these playoffs, in the last playoffs. And they did give him a 2-year extension last year, but I could see that getting even bigger in the offseason this year.
Sure.
But yeah, this baseball is fun to watch again right now. And Mookie is up for Golden Glove for shortstop right now. Like it's good times.
Doing big things out there in Seattle. It will be their first trip to the World Series, I believe, ever. And if they actually manage to pull off the upset of the century and beat the Dodgers, it would be their first World Series title ever.
Okay, don't get away from yourself now. Like
no, I'm not saying that there's a chance that it'll happen. That's why I said the impossible. But all right, y'all. So we're gonna go and
give the Brewers a game. Like we were nice enough to give Philly a game, but didn't even give the Brewers a game. And coming in, there was a lot of, especially with the way the Dodgers ended their season, which was not good at all. There was a lot of talk on could they get past the Brewers, but the Dodgers turn into a very different team in October.
That they do. And I'll say it like this: as far as the Mariners beating the Dodgers, is normally most of the time just when you think they can't. And I'm not just talking about the Mariners. I'm just talking about in general underdogs. That's when they do. So, I'm not saying it's likely, but it's
they got to
improbable.
punch your chance. I can't knock them. I don't think they'll do it. They got to punch your chance.
So, all right. So, last thing to do, guys, before we wrap up this show is go back to our sports question quiz. Who is the only player in NBA history to win a league MVP, coach of the year, and executive of the year? Do either of you care to take a shot?
Now, is this all in the same year or just overall?
Overall throughout their career.
I mean, I gotta go with Bill Russell.
O'Malley, any guesses?
It was that or Al Laddles, and I don't think Al Laddles ever won an MVP.
Before I was
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird.
Why I didn't think of Larry.
What the fuck?
Larry Bird.
Forgot about that shit.
Won the MVP with
white.
the Celtics, coach of the year with the Pacers, and I believe executive of the year with the Pacers as well.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Larry Bird.
Forgot about those years.
Sorry.
The Reggie Miller years, man. But all right, y'all. This has been a great episode again. Thank you, Swab. Thank you, O'Malley, for joining me tonight. Next week, we'll be back. Same bad time, same bad channel for those of you who tuned in late. Or you can just press replay as soon as I press end stream. You guys can watch the replay instantaneously on YouTube or Twitch. This is a great episode, to be sure to check it out. Other than that, y'all, stay up, stay well. And O'Malley, close us out as always.
Fuck LeBron. I don't give two halves a fuck whether you're sitting, standing, playing, fucking pulling weeds in your backyard. Fuck you. Fuck Bronny 2. Fuck JJ Redick. Fuck Luka. Fuck all of y'all.
My president is black and my Lambo is blue.
We out, y'all. Peace.